Dear Canada, who to invade next? Sorry, wrong video. This video is actually pertaining to the most important issue our country and our planet has faced in the last 65 million years. And if you think I'm exaggerating, and man, I wish that was the case, I'm going to reference articles in the video details covering all the major points in this video. Now, a lot of you may be here because you just came from the Canadian Revolution music video, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, the link is also in the video details, or you could just YouTube Canadian Revolution. Et si vous parlez français, et vous pouvez aider-moi à traduire ça, clearly not my first language, I just Google translated that, so I would definitely appreciate some help. Now let me get serious for a second. There's a lot of issues that matter, that we need to be voting on in this federal election, as well as when we choose our provincial and city governments. But none of those issues, literally not one of them, will matter if the global overheating that we're currently witnessing the beginnings of continues unabated and accelerates the mass extinction that has already begun. The increase in human warfare and refugee movements that are already underway, that we're getting a preview to in the drought-stricken and water-starved Middle East, parts of which went above 50 degrees Celsius this summer with not a droplet of rain to cool things down. Aw man, but don't blame Canada. We're not the biggest emitter of greenhouse gases in the world. We're only like number 9. Only about 726 megatons. That's 726 million tons of greenhouse gases a year, or about 7 times what all of the world's volcanoes combined erupt in the average year. That's why, in the words of James Hansen, former lead climate scientist at NASA and current head of Earth Sciences at Columbia University, if we were to take all of the oil that is buried underneath the tar sands of Alberta, rip it out of the earth, process it using enormous amounts of fresh water and creating 250 million liters of toxic waste each day, ship it through the railways and the constantly leaking pipelines, and finally set it on fire to burn it into the atmosphere, then that quantity of greenhouse gases in and of itself would be enough to trigger runaway global warming, bringing catastrophic changes to the Earth's climate, and would equal game over for life as we know it on this planet. You see, the last time we witnessed an increase in temperature and emissions like we're going to witness in the 21st century unless we take emergency action, it led to the extinction of virtually all large animal species on land and over 90% of life in the Earth's oceans. And as someone who's quite obsessed with the study of history, I can tell you it's highly unlikely the human race is going to deal with water and food shortages peacefully, especially now that we've built up the most expensive, elaborate, and deadly weapons arsenal in human history. Let's just say it might get a bit hot. See, the planet does not give a flying puck what we think makes sound economic sense. The atmosphere is an inanimate and heartless entity to which it is irrelevant what the market value of oil and coal are, or the fluctuations of ones and zeros on a bank's computer hard drive that represent the human creation that is money. If it doesn't rain and our crops fail, as is beginning to happen with greater frequency and severity around the world, then we will starve. If the Earth continues to heat up and the Greenland and Antarctic ice sheets melt into a rising sea, then we will drown or become refugees. If humans run out of fresh water supplies, as is beginning to happen all over the world, then bigger and bigger portions of this planet are going to start looking the way that Syria and Somalia and Darfur already do. Where there is no water, there will be fire. The only detail that matters in all of this is that there's a finite amount of greenhouse gases that we can burn into the atmosphere if we want to keep this planet inhabitable for humans and other animals. Period. That simple and non-negotiable fact needs to be the basis of how we organize our economy. Wait, hold up. You're talking about shutting down the tar sands? Are you fucking crazy? Do you know how many people work there? What the hell is Canada's economy supposed to do if we stop spending billions of dollars of taxpayer money subsidizing an industry that is currently losing money, poisoning, and giving lethal cancers to people and animals in northern Alberta, and everywhere the pipelines and trains leak or explode, and pushing us at full speed towards a total breakdown of life on Earth. Well, newsflash. You know, I was gonna talk about future possibilities and try to convince you that potentially at some point down the line in the future, maybe this could happen. But this news is from last year, and that was after 8 years of the conservative government doing next to nothing to help advance clean energy in this country and pumping billions of dollars of our money into a giant, toxic hole in the ground. Sounds quite illogical, does it not, Captain? But of course, one very intended consequence of all this has been that Harper's sugar daddies in the oil industry stay filthy rich and financing his campaigns, as well as some corrupt liberal candidates who have also accepted millions of dollars in bribes or campaign donations from those who are literally destroying our country, our bodies, and our future. That is, of course, until Canadians wake up and smell the burning. Now, most of that fantastic growth of clean energy in Canada has been thanks to foreign investment or actions on the part of intelligent provincial governments. Just imagine what we could do with a scientifically literate and responsible government in Ottawa. Oh yeah, dude, speaking of which, weren't you going to talk about the election at some point? Yes, absolutely. I'm going to be speaking on who I'm going to be voting for and why in an upcoming video. But these issues are far bigger than politicians or political parties. This goes deeper than voting. Voting is just the bare minimum of your responsibility if you'd like to live in a free country. And if Canada is to be a real democracy, then it is not who our next prime minister is, but what the will of the people is that matters. And so it is to you, the people of Canada, with whom I'm speaking right now. And now to the crux of the matter. Oil companies, as well as their conservative servants in government, are now planning work on the so innocently named Energy East pipeline, which for those who don't know would be longer and carry a greater volume of bitumen than the Keystone XL pipeline, which was wisely vetoed by President Obama. Perhaps it would help to use a more accurate name for the project to help explain why I, as well as thousands of actual scientists, are completely against idiotic proposals like this. And that would be a human-made, artificial river of extremely cancerous, toxic liquid flowing at enormous volumes across 6 provinces, crossing thousands of rivers and streams, many of which flow into the lifeblood of North America, that is the Great Lakes, and all the way out to the Atlantic Ocean, where it will increase dirty, noisy, and dangerous oil tanker traffic in the habitats of numerous species of whales, dolphins, and other marine life. The entire purpose of which would be to increase the rate of destruction in the tar sands to the tune of about 30 million tons of greenhouse gases a year. You know, that doesn't seem like a very good idea anymore. You know, maybe for short, just so we can remember who's responsible when it has its first spill, or helps accelerate the quickly unfolding ecological Armageddon that anyone without their head in their asses can see very clearly, we could just call it Harper's Toxic River. Or Mulcair's Mess, if you want to be that irresponsible. Or the worst decision Justin Trudeau ever made in his life. Now, everybody makes mistakes on the campaign trail, but it's never too late to see things in a different light, especially if the Canadian people demand you see it that way. And that's why I'd like to propose here, just to suggest an alternative idea. And that's that we deal with this global crisis with the same successful government-led action that we took the last time we faced a global threat of comparable magnitude during the Second World War. See, just like we redesigned the entire industrial machinery of the state to create war machines in that time, today the government must take the lead on a national infrastructure and employment project to begin to harvest some of the massive, untapped resources that abound in our enormous country and build a trans-Canada network of renewable energy generation. Am I being overly optimistic about that possibility? Just think about the colossally powerful continental winds that crisscross this landmass every day and are even stronger off our coasts, as well as the incredible amount of power that the giant fusion reactor at the center of our solar system transmits to Canada every day in the form of the sunshine that falls unharvested upon our nearly 10 million square kilometers of land, as well as the powerful tidal forces that surround us in 200,000 kilometers of the world's longest coastline spread across 3 oceans. Now let me hit you with a metaphor that I read in one of these books. I actually can't remember which one, but I recommend all of them, particularly these two, if you'd like to very positively change the way you see the world and understand how we're going to survive this mass extinction. And here it is. Just like those who bet all of their money on horses and buggies in the early 1900s, thinking, cars? Well, that's an unreliable new technology. Well, we're always going to need horses and buggies. Man, it's been that way for centuries. I mean, if you really want to make a solid, safe investment, bet on horses and buggies. That's where the smart money is. Always has been, always will be. Just like those oh so wise men in the early 21st century now, countries and economies that are betting all of our future hopes and growth on fossil fuels based on past performance are going to be left in the dust. Because regardless if you care at all about every animal you've ever heard of going extinct along with billions of us, there's no way that technology that is soon going to become obsolete is ever going to compete with sources of energy that we get for free and that are infinitely renewable. That's why Canada needs to catch up to Germany, catch up to Japan and the United States, and partner with these countries to make sure our own companies are on the cutting edge and leading the way in this worldwide transition that is already underway. We already have everything we need to make that a reality, minus the political will. So regardless of who wins this election, we all know better than to trust any politician with anything important, let alone the present and future of our country. So to the people of Canada, let's get informed, let's get loud, and let's get the criminals who are poisoning the waters that are the very lifeblood of our country and our bodies out of Parliament and send a responsible, proportionally representative government to Ottawa. Spread the word, let me know what you think in the comments, and have a beautiful day. My name is Guy Azai. Thank you.